podcast. It's your home for entrepreneurship, esports, education, entertainment. I'm one of your hosts, Marcus Howard, joined by other great hosts here.
Sebastian, chosen one, Burton.
Right, and for me, your master geektress.
And Derek, aka Mr. Dope Work.
Excellent.
We're live today, Marcus. What we got?
A lot of good stuff, man. We're going to switch it up a little bit. You know, we've had a lot of great guests these last 10 episodes. We're going to mix it up so that we have a chance, really share what's going on a week-to-week basis. Still going to bring those great guests into the flow, into the schedule, but talk about some cool stuff. So this week, we're going to cover, obviously, Mortal Kombat, Overwatch, Dogecoin, and GameStop. So spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen Mortal Kombat, we're about to basically cover this shit in the end. So if you haven't seen Mortal Kombat, don't leave the podcast, but mute for a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like you probably don't want to watch this if you're gonna see it and you haven't seen it yet. Because
it'll be at the end.
We're gonna be I think it was a good movie, but I have some thoughts. I mostly liked. I know Red said we should talk about what we like first. You know, before we got.
Are we not doing this at the end?
Oh, we're gonna do it at the end of the podcast. I thought we were doing it now. No, I'm excited to talk about it. I mean,
okay, go ahead.
Can I be honest? Can I be honest? I'm just excited. But should we wait to the end strategically? Talk to me. Talk to your old boy.
It's up to y'all. Listen, it's up to y'all.
Let's run with it.
Okay.
Gosh.
Well, I mean, because hey, listen, spoilers are spoilers, man. Like, beginning or end, you're gonna get,
without spoiling, I guess.
Okay. I feel like if it was the first entry to a movie and I was a kid, I would think that it was like a little below par of Marvel and re-entering that Marvel universe, but it still felt like they're setting up for a universe. I respected that, and I liked that, and I felt like, okay, cool. They're leaving you a little bit to know, like, there is more. If I was new, right? I'm 10 years old, like, I've only seen the new Mortal Kombats, really, and if I was young, I didn't even know Mortal Kombat, the original, like, 9, the remake. So, like, now I'm just like, okay, this is a movie adaptation of, I started playing maybe around MKX in 2015. I would think, like, okay, cool. Like, they showed some of my characters that I like. They showed some cool fights. They showed, some classic stuff that I fell in love with the game. And they definitely had, like, a surprise couple of characters I don't think you would have guessed if you had to pick. So I enjoyed that. But clearly, but I had some thoughts on some of the character picks, and I just don't know about the choice of, since it's gonna be our own version, having a whole made up character that's like the main character. I just don't know. I don't think that worked out for Resident Evil in the movie series. I don't think that, like, like making up somebody to make some, I don't know what that's about. Like, making them up, having to have the nice family, like, I have to do it for them. I like that, but it's like, you're not in this, man. You're not from, like, this real entrenched world in these realms. Like, they just made you up. That was, like, the kid in me. And that's my review.
One of the things I liked, or two of the things I liked, one was that they had, like, cameo or Easter egg things that were in there just people who played the game, right? I'm not going to spoil any of it, but, like, you could go through the movie and say, oh, I recognize that. Oh, like, you played arcade games, like, you definitely recognize that.
Right.
The other thing was, like, the set pieces, right? Like, different specific, and I can't spoil any of it, but specific pieces, like, I remember that's a Mortal Kombat stage.
Right.
So that was dope.
Right.
I'm gonna let you go then last in Red Infamous, since you need to drink your drink.
Respectfully.
So I'm a Mortal Kombat player, but I never cared about any of the movies. So this is my first movie that I've watched that is Mortal Kombat related. I thought it was pretty straight. It seemed like it got to a point where they tried to rush it to be done. Like, it's like, okay, we've been doing this for a minute. Let's go ahead and shut this movie off and be done with it. After that build up, I thought the effects were okay. Some of the fighting scenes were a little bit weak, just from a choreography standpoint. But I think it got the job done. I didn't leave there feeling like it was a cheesy movie or anything. But I didn't see. I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking about they watched it 2 or 3 times. It didn't leave me wanting to watch it again. Like, it was straight to go through it the first time, but
Yeah.
I don't need to go back through it to see it again.
Yeah, nah. I would agree with that.
That's one of the cool things about HBO Max, though, right? I didn't watch the whole movie again, but I went to go see like specific pieces.
I did do that.
I
did do that. I think I had to see one part because someone said that I had like looked away because of, again, the HBO Max thing. So I like looked away on the other screen on my rig, and I missed the bicycle kick. So I went back and rewatched that because, got to see that. But yeah, I just did that. I didn't watch the whole thing over again. I don't know if it was. I feel like I was gonna say one of the things I didn't like, and Derek hit on it, is the pace. The pace was kind of like really weird how they built it up dramatically, and then really like I feel like they just had a conversation with the main guy, and he was just like, "You're gonna fight this person. You're gonna fight this person." It's like, hold on, you just got here. Like, how are you telling this Liu Kang, man? You don't talk to him like that. he got dragon. He got skills. You just came. I don't know. I'll knock my camera away.
I agree.
What you think?
So, I've been a Mortal Kombat fan forever. And I've watched the films. I've watched the web series. I've watched the animated movie. The TV series was trash back in the days. The cartoon was cool. And the way this movie felt was as if I was playing unnecessary side missions and never got to the main mission. And that's like how I felt about the movie. The acting was corny. The created character, who is the main character, I felt was unnecessary. I felt they should have had actually went along with the lore of the actual series. I know this is pretty much like a resurrection of Mortal Kombat movies. I felt like they should have gotten a better director. This director. This is his first major movie he's ever directed. Same goes with the writers, except for one of the writers who's supposed to be also writing for Shang-Chi. But the rest of the writers, this is their first major and damn near first project that they've written for. I felt there was a lot of cheesiness in it. As far as the characters, some of the characters did their thing. One character was very favorable. I think he did a really great job, and I'm going to say Kano, portraying the persona of Kano. That was my dude in the movie. It was funny. Like, it was just one part. I was like, yo, that was realistic. And it was very simple part. It was a part between him and Liu Kang. I'm not going to spoil what it was. My dude, I call him Bacalao Kung Lao. That's my nickname for Kung Lao, one of my favorite characters. It's just one part was very corny that he came about. And who I don't like, period, in all of Mortal Kombat ever before this movie even graced upon my eyes, is Raiden. He continued my annoyance in the movie, even in the movie. Let's just say him being a god or a demigod, he sure enough don't use that in this movie at all for certain scenarios. So
he's not allowed to.
I just
felt
like
not allowed to. They stuck to that, and I respected that. He's not allowed to. The elder god's not allowed.
No,
he
to broke it. You know, he broke it, right? He broke it.
Who did he hit? He hit Shang Tsung and sent him back to where
he explained that he's not supposed to interfere, yet he interfered in one of the scenes. If you check back, he interfered, and he even winked when he did it. So,
HBO Max chosen, so you can go just right back to
you go look at it again. That looks nice. So yeah, I just felt like it was corny to me. The fight scenes, there was some fight scenes that was cool, but I just felt like the plot was everywhere. And And some of the characters really did not sell the characters we grew up with. So yeah, that's my take.
One of the things I read
4 out of 10.
They casted more for the fighting, like the talent for fighting, not for their acting ability. And I think you can see it's painfully obvious here in the movie is that like these are fighters who happen to be acting.
They still didn't fight right.
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying with the
so
choreography.
they failed on that. I was like, So like, okay.
You know, one thing I'll say that I wish in 2021, like, younger people were empowered in these places to make these decisions, because it is just such a, like, dated thing for the person to, like, say the thing from the video game. Like, I hated when Kung Lao did that, for lack of a better term, a fatality, and then he was just like, you know, fatality. Like,
he said flawless victory.
Oh, even worse. Even worse.
It wasn't a flawless victory because he got hit.
Right. Factually incorrect what he said, but also too, like, you don't have to say that.
Yes, he did. She grabbed him. That's a hit. It is.
Chip damage in Mortal Kombat. It's true. It's chip. It's true. I feel like there's just those moments where, like, or Liu Kang said fatality, and I just, like, I liked it, but then I just wish, like, sometimes you could just not say it, and it's so subtle. It's like the old, like, Godfather movies. There's, like, so many things that you don't have to say. Just, like,
you don't have to say it.
You know? Like, you don't have to say those things. Like, we respect that so much. That's why it's a global phenomenon. So just let it be. Get over here. You can't skip that. That's a move, right? You can't skip that.
Yeah,
but, like,
it's a move you can't skip.
The announcer stuff,
like
let us have that. You know?
But it felt like a TV show that was rushed.
Okay.
That's how I felt.
Yeah, through the movie, I was like, okay, we're getting.
It didn't feel like, yo, this is the cinematic joint that's about to pop off. I didn't like. I didn't get that. Like, and what I've gathered is, like, I've watched the web series, and that was a fan made production that they got funding from.
That was incredible. I loved. Is that Legacy you're talking about?
Yes, Legacy.
Listen,
was better than this movie.
Listen. That Sector Cyrax episode was the best.
Bruh.
No matter what, when you go through the years of Mortal Kombat, right? Like, those are characters that you're like, I wonder how technology or CGI has benefited to, you know,
now
the presentation today. That's a fan made. And that was fan made. That was incredible. Movie. That was incredible. And it was a series. You know, you can still put it all together because they put it all together to have it like a movie, but it was a series. It was a series.
But they had Michael Jai White in there. They had the girl. What was it? 7 or 9 out of 10. What's her name from Star Trek? She was in there as Sonya Blade. Like, Kano was dope in there. Like,
it was dope.
They made the whole series. I only saw the trailer with Scorpion.
I saw that because I just seen it by episodes. I seen the Johnny Cage episode. I seen
it was believable.
It was fire. The Sector Cyrax one, I was like, man, listen, you better check Elon Musk and Tesla, and then they ain't cutting under people's skin, putting them robot stuff under there now. They got so much going on. Seen that stuff with Starlink this week. I was like, that's crazy. And I just think, like, for Mortal Kombat, I feel like it was a good starting point. Someone in here, Jeffrey Potvin, said on LinkedIn, he said it was a good start, but it lacked Xavier Gray said it lacked a movie-like story plot. It felt like cutscenes from a video game.
Because even if you never played the game, this is the thing where I'm getting from people. Even if you never played the video game, didn't know about the video game, you as being a person who watched movies is not going to see the continuity in the plot. Like, that's my problem with it. Now, coming from a gamer's aspect, there's things that I'm like, yo, y'all really, like, y'all dead ass, like, y'all really chose to do that. That's where I'm coming in. And then somebody in the middle, I'm like, everybody that enjoyed this did not see the web series.
Yeah.
And then this new character that y'all made the main character doesn't feel like a main character at all.
No.
We just could have just went right back to square one and just have Liu Kang just be the main character all over again. So yeah, they didn't to me. And he's a good actor. Like, we seen him in Iron Fist. He was in a couple of other movies as well. I was like, they just could have did him as just because of who he is and where he so-called come from. They could have did a better job. But yeah, I just felt cinematic wise, I hope with the sequel they take some heed and not go off of this hype that's going on.
Well, I mean, Johnny Cage is coming. I thought that was
Please don't Saints Row him. Please.
Sorry.
Please don't Saints Row him.
We went through the whole segment right there.
Yeah. Chosen's bad with spoilers.
My bad.
Thanks, Chosen.
Don't listen to me. I was tired when I watched it. So, Marcus, what do you want to tell the people this week? Let's get into some of these great topics. If you guys haven't seen Mortal Kombat, check it out so you can at least see if it to you was crunk it or junk it. All right, check it out. Let us know, because I have two sides to me. I just thought it was okay, and then I hated it. I don't know about the side that loved it. I don't know if that,
because you love the action. Probably you love the action.
Yeah. I mean, it was the thing. So watch it, please. Now, Marcus, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So real quick, some housekeeping stuff. If you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, if you'll give us a rating, or some comments, we're trying to continue to boost the reach of this. Our producer reminded us, appreciate that, Richard. Just anybody, if you're listening to this on your podcast and hope you enjoy this, we're always going to continue to push the needle on this and make this more valuable for you. So we appreciate that. But I want to talk about Dogecoin for a second, because I'm getting tired of the Dogecoin hype. So just want to address a few things, right? Nothing against anybody who made some money off of it, right? I can't knock the hustle. If you turned $20 into a new Xbox, congratulations. But when Dogecoin launched in like 2012, 2013, amongst other cryptocurrencies, the entire crypto community knew it was a joke. Like, people who created it weren't taking it seriously. And haven't been in this space since 2013. I know about the scams that happen around ICOs and general cryptocurrencies. And so this has all like the stink of a scam, right? If you look at the development history, you can see when developers are like making steady progress on the code that makes coins work. Check Bitcoin, check Ethereum. If you look at Dogecoin, there hasn't been like any real development in over 18 months. Like, they just recently started like 2 or 3 months ago, but basically the coin's been dead. So what you have is like a bunch of people pumping up something that has no real utility. Think about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you can buy Teslas with it, you can buy houses with it. Hell, you can add it to your retirement portfolio. Think about Ethereum. Ethereum powers like 85 to 95% of all business apps on the blockchain, right? And then you look at Dogecoin. What is the utility there? How can you use it outside of just trading it? Yeah, you can go use it and you hear not Elon Musk, Mark Cuban talking about paying for stuff over at the Mavericks, but his money is already in, right? He has an incentive to hype it up. So I just want people to be careful putting their money into Dogecoin, thinking it's going to be the next Bitcoin, because the fundamentals just aren't there. And a lot of people are going to get burned. I remember, again, 2016, 2018, people were getting second mortgages on their homes to get into Bitcoin during the ICO boom and bust. And a lot of people were just left. They just got caught slipping. So I don't want to see anybody out of our community, have that same problem. But just be careful, because I'm also in these Telegram groups and these Discord groups. There are people who are actively doing pump and dumps. That's where they go out into the marketplace, social media, hype up a coin and coordinate so they all buy right at the same time to boost the price of the coin up, and then they all get out, which makes the price crash. So just be careful out there. This isn't stock. It's completely unregulated.
So I got a question, because like I'm still lost with cryptocurrency. Of course, I hear whatever's popping, what's not, what I should. And like cryptocurrency is like the wild, wild west. And like you explained, like with Bitcoin, because like in the beginning, Bitcoin was for the scammers and, kind of like it wasn't something that was well renowned. It was like well renowned in the dark, like the dark web type situation. So as more companies took heed to what was going on, because it was a different financial, like, I guess, revenue stream, like it start to kind of get its weight up and be more reputable. And of course, I see with Dogecoin, they knew it was a joke, but I'm asking because you the guru. Because they put, just like with Bitcoin, they made something that is not backed by something, made it worth something. So how is it the difference between Dogecoin starting out, just like Bitcoin starting out? Because you said there was like this type of infrastructure that was still put in place even in the beginnings with Bitcoin that you just don't see, period, with Dogecoin. So it's like, if they like it today, they like it today. But if tomorrow they don't like it, you don't have like a safety net compared to the infrastructure of Bitcoin.
That's a great question. And just to be clear, all money is basically a social contract, right? Technically, the US dollar dropped the gold standard in 1971. So we're all just using like these pieces of fabric just because we believe it has value, right?
Yeah.
So Dogecoin is the same, Bitcoin is the same, like anything is the same. It could be like tubs of paint or like shoes, right? Whatever you choose to be currency is currency. That's why barter systems work. But when you look at the fundamentals, it just misses the core pieces that make a cryptocurrency viable long term. Again, there are basically like maybe in the last 2 or 3 months, developers have gotten back into it after like Elon Musk tweeted it. But before then, there was this 18-month gap where no one was supporting it. The original developers left it. You can go read up about it and hear about like how basically the coin died. And so even if a community is supporting it, what happens when like Dogecoin is not the thing that everybody's trending on, right? And if you're not paying attention to it, there's nothing to fall back on. There's no safety net.
You really got to pay attention to it damn near every day.
Yeah, I mean,
something like this.
It dropped from, I think the high point was like 46, above 40. It's now trading at like 25 cents.
25, yeah.
And I saw people on like, even on
26.
LinkedIn, like Friday, like, is it going to go up to $1? Like spreading it out to their network. So a lot of people jumped in like right as it was going right above 40, and now it's at 25. And if you don't understand how crypto works, you're going to panic sell. So then you lost, what is that, nearly 50% of your investment.
Wow. Wow. And I mean, it's just off of the hype. That's what the world we live in now too. Like that's the world, right? Like it literally can be just off of hype. Like everybody's seeing something and then the behavior is following what they're seeing and not actual like research on fundamentals, right? Like that brings me to like a thought of like the GameStop CEO is likely going to get a payout, and he's exiting the company now, and he's going to get a payout. And
he sold everything.
Yeah, the stock, all the stock, and he's going to get a payout. And it's like that came from a group of Redditors trying to gamble with the system. Robinhood stopped it for regulations they say had nothing to do with, the common man getting his. But now the GameStop CEO who benefited from that rush is taking the money and leaving anyway. It's like that's
the 101. Yo, I was like, wait a minute, was you?
And that's why it's like people need to heed what Marcus is saying, because you guys are the ones powering that. You're powering that, whether you know it or not. You're powering that. Like you are giving that the gas. They are laughing together about that, and GameStop's quote for the longest time, or their slogan for the longest time, has been "Power to the players." Do you feel powerful yet?
Right. But look at GameStop's another great example, right? After it got boosted by the Reddit group or the subreddit, right? It just went back to its fundamentals and the price crash.
Right. As a company, they haven't done anything advanced in the last 10 years, right? They've just had a lot of real estate, and gamers by numbers have a place to go, so they'll go there. And they've just been hanging on that way, closing stores year after year after year. They bring a CEO on, and he benefits from the group of Redditors raising the price.
Isn't this like the fourth CEO?
Yeah, came in and then leaves. He leaves, Red. Now he's leaving. After the this GameStop thing seemed to settle down. Get on out of here.
GameStop had a streaming service in 2014, and they sold it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I mean, it was whack, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
At least
they tried to catch up with the times once, but they didn't even reiterate that. They just sold it off. They
just do things off a trend.
They sold it off, meaning they just took the money right there. Someone was like, well, we think in 2020, premium services will be up a lot. And in 2014, GameStop was like, nah, give us the money. Give us the money now. Give us the money. We'll take the money. And the rest. Well, who knows? 2020 will probably be in a different business.
Roll the dice.
Yeah, roll the dice. Yeah, I mean that was crazy to read that the CEO is getting a payout, and I think of all the stuff you were talking about, Marcus, with trends really controlling the market now because everybody has a Robinhood or a Webull. Trends really control the market stronger than they ever did in this society. So you could hear things or get yeah. Well, it falls into esports hella too. Falls into esports all the time, all the time. I think one to talk about is the Overwatch League. I think that's one that is a conversation of interest to me because I watched very closely as the first fully funded league came together, and what we see is the difference with esports and traditional sports is one key factor. Like, there's a lot of different things, but one key factor that people have to accept is that genres matter. All genres matter, okay? Genres matter. And so, even if Overwatch was huge, right? Like, it was this huge world-dominating game, it'd still just be Overwatch. And the rest of the people who don't watch or play Overwatch wouldn't be involved in it. So how much value can you put in something like that? We're just 2 years later, and Overwatch can't make front page news, and they're looking at a second game coming out, and a new season of their league is about to come out. And they can't make headline news. I have to search for Overwatch news right now. Meanwhile,
yeah, you literally have to search for, like, I'm right now searching for Overwatch news, but it was something that you posted, like the caption you posted in the chat of what somebody was talking about, and they brought up a really good factor. It was the same thing that almost happened to Street Fighter. Right. So remember when Street Fighter came out with Street Fighter 5, and they came out with their game, and it was half-assed. So it was half-assed from what they promised.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, the new Street Fighter is going to come out. It's going to have a storyline, and it's going to have arcade mode and so forth, right? And they announced when the story mode was actually supposed to come out. When Street Fighter came out, it wasn't what everybody expected.
Right.
Thus, the casual gamers, because you have to understand the casual gamers is the ones who's going to actually keep the game alive, not the esports players.
Right.
It's the casual gamers.
Right.
So
that's the gaming industry, right?
You gotta say that again, Red.
Yeah, please. Please.
The casual gamers is what actually keeps the game alive, not the esports players. It's not. You have a small percentage of esports players compared to a large percentage of consumers that is going to go out and pay for your game. That's going to go out and pay for DLC, that is going to hooray for the game coming out and hooray for their favorite esports player. But that's like the ratio of people to players. Come on, just like with any other sport.
Right.
So I use that example of Street Fighter because that's one of the things that one of the people had said with Overwatch. It's like, okay, I came out. I remember when they showcased Overwatch at PAX. I forgot which PAX it was. And they show all these diverse type of characters. And then every time they was coming out with more characters, they invested so much into the voice actors. It created a really dope fan base.
Right.
Yet they didn't take care of the fan base. They let toxicity come in. Once people started streaming or whatever the case may be, it was very racial. I swear, like, I haven't seen so much racism in, like, just playing online since, like, back in the days on Call of Duty 4, like the first Modern Warfare, when I would put on my 360 and I'm getting met with all kind of stuff and I got to fight back and all stuff. Right. But with Overwatch, it's like, wait a minute, this look kind of more cutesy.
Yeah.
And yet I'm getting called everything. I remember Malik, when he started being the host, they would put so much different racist type emotes and all kind of stuff in the chat, just alone from him. And I'm like, Activision Blizzard, y'all understood what happened with Call of Duty and y'all corrected that. So Blizzard, why didn't y'all not correct what was going on? And I guess they didn't even let Activision come in to be a actual consultant. Y'all own the company. You see what they had to regulate with Call of Duty. Why didn't y'all put those same emphasis on the Overwatch League? Like, you have a lot of kids playing this game. You have so many different people from all walks of life. Y'all so-called try to add diversity into the game. Like, so y'all don't understand y'all viewership, which means that the fans is going to be like, why should I play this? Let me go to Apex.
Boom. That's what's like, going to happen.
That's what's happening. And then even like the live events, we look at the teams. The teams are mostly Korean, even though if we got a New York team, it's mostly Korean players. It's like it's just not meeting a lot of different core things to kind of make it like everybody's a part of the whole community of it. So it's very one-sided. That's how I feel about that community and that league. It's just very one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what you're saying is all true. And at the same time, it just raises questions about, what we talk about with, the esports current bubble and then esports 2.0. This is a great outline for people to look at when they ask that question. It's like the bubble is built. They built this league on the back that people were like, hey, people love this. No culture, no regulation. They're like, people love this trend. People are saying this. Look how much money this group made off of it. Jump in. And then it's like, okay, well, who's got the biggest opportunity for us to jump in? Because now all the big investors' ears hear it, and they're like, okay, I only want to go to the number one top dog. Well, you look at anybody's balance sheet, and Activision Blizzard prints money. I mean, they're easily, them, Twitch, and Amazon, only a few companies are making money hand over fist in profitability year after year after year, right? And in the whole space. So Activision Blizzard, of course, so they get all these big investors, right? You get Robert Kraft and the Patriots. You get, Gary Vee. You get a bunch of different people putting money up because they're like, well, look, we're about to build this into this huge thing. The Mets. I mean, you have all these people putting all this money in, and here we are with smaller communities are rocking out at what Overwatch is trying to do. And it's just going to prove that without the right pieces and the right people, it's not going to work. And it seems like that's why the last 2-3 years, I know you guys have noticed, and I don't have them right in front of me, but I definitely know the recent one of like the layoffs in the esports department. I mean, in their esports and Activision and Blizzard, these are people who are building this community. It's almost like they don't think esports it's like firing customer service reps. Like they think they're just kind of like, you can just get somebody else who can ask these questions. When it's like these people are going to the events, these people are on the floor with the people, and even if they're just Q&A analysts or whatever, you're not building something that will last so that an actual community sticks around and wants to be around the game. It goes right into what Red was saying about like, having pro players that look like everybody. 1, 2, like actually sticking with the story, the characters, the development, the things that make Naruto sell over and over and over again, the things that make Dragon Ball Z. I mean, man, listen, if in 3 years they come out with Dragon Ball Z Super X and it's another random tournament out in space, and that doesn't show you how much they could just, as long as Goku does this, we're going to be able to sell it. You have to be able to do that. And I believe like Overwatch missed the mark. And I think that a lot of their fans, and that's why I shared that shared in the group chat that comment from a really big group on Facebook, and you could just see the real disappointment in that from the fans. It's like they tried to cater to the MLG crowd. That's how they put it, right? And it's like,
yeah, they didn't.
They didn't really care about. It's almost like Jeff Kaplan would begin to come out more about nerfs and buffs more than he would come out about the new experiences coming to the game or the new characters or what's Winston doing in the off time. Those were coming out at first. Those was coming out. And I was like, oh, this game is kind of fire. I'm not gonna lie, they got my attention. But then it just stopped being about that and started being buffs, nerfs, and of course the toxicity that it lives in this esports ecosystem. All the people were like, yo, kids are playing this. They never want to see what kids are doing and saying on it. And now the chicken's coming home to roost because most of the gamers that Red is talking about, the non-esports competitors, the huge part of the market, they look at that and they're like, nah, I'm good over here on Candy Crush, buddy. Y'all are crazy.
Yeah, not catering to your audience.
Blame them?
Huh?
I said, but can you blame them though? And I imagine, I know we think that the casual gamers keeps a game alive, but I know the casual gamer isn't applying the pressure as investors and people that have paid 32 million to be part of a league are doing, when like that type of pressure that you put on developers and stuff to keep up with. Like every organization has A squad, B squad, and a D squad if you're lucky from a developer standpoint. And if your main developers, you're going to put them on the things that are priority. So therefore you're shifting them from, if you say esports, this organization, and making this successful because so many people have dumped so much money into us, and so that we need to make this thing successful, I'm going to take my A squad and move them over into focusing on the esports stuff. And then I might have my B and C squad that's working on the lore and the other added character standpoint from a man or a woman resource standpoint. So therefore, eventually when you look up, you're like, oh, well, shit, we haven't really put out another character. We put out 2. And then we've been nerfing and buffing with our main developers throughout this entire time. I know from a job standpoint, I feel like it's easy to say, oh, well, they should be focused and should have both, but it doesn't really work like that. Your good team that you had from the ground up, you're going to keep putting them on the things that you consider priority, even if you pick the wrong things that are priority as they seem, you know. Because you could put out like 7 new characters in the esports community. If they're complaining, the people that are investing millions, if they're complaining, you're going to feel that pressure. And it's not going to be the same amount of pressure, even if the casual audience is like, yay, this is awesome.
Well, that's why I brought up Street Fighter, because that's the reason why Street Fighter has lasted this long in the community, is because the only mess up they've had recently, and they admitted to that, like they had to admit to it, like, yeah, we did come out with this game like this at first to get it ready for Evo. I said that from the jump, and they didn't say it yet. They later then had to explain, but their audience was angry. If you're just going to cater towards the buzz of esports and you're not catering to your whole ecosystem on what even made it to be, it's going to fall. You still got to have people showing up to those events. I mean, now we live in this world that we can't do that now. So now what is it going to rely on? If there's less people playing, because you have to understand, their money just don't come from esports. Now, if their money is just relying off of esports, that's bad. No,
Capcom, I totally agree. I'm talking about the flex. The flex of the trouble of you're stressed out at work is not going to come from the casual audience. It's coming from big dogs with lawyers and applying that pressure, calling your phone and those back office meetings and they're on side of the on a golf course that you're getting cussed out at. Like that is going to be pressure. The casual audience is only be able to talk trash to you from a online standpoint, where you eventually feel the pressure because like the casual audience carries the load of that. But from immediate pressure, where you're thinking from a day-to-day, like, okay, let me appease this person, they're not going to be able to apply the same amount of pressure as lawyers and investors.
They can if they stop buying, you know.
Yeah, if they stop buying
that's
the
a
game
clock,
and support.
That's over time. We're talking about immediately when somebody's picking up the phone and cussing you out about something. A casual gamer is not going to apply that pressure. To you.
I mean, like the complaining of a consumer, just complaining, no. But if nobody is spending hours on your game anymore because they feel like you're not making it safe for me to play this game, how are we going to birth the new esports players?
Exactly.
See, that's the thing what I mean about the ecosystem of Street Fighter. Street Fighter had, well, I would say the community did it before Capcom started to actually make their way in more, but they did when they had supported Evo and so forth. They started, it's building the next esports player. Whether I'm playing casuals to whatever, I feel that I could be in this community. There's nobody talking about, oh, I want to be an Overwatch esports player. There's nobody saying that, like, yo, I want to play an Overwatch league.
Yeah.
Now, in the beginning, there were.
But they don't see them. So even if you was white, black, whatever, like you don't see yourself. You see mostly Koreans. So you see the Koreans, they invested in Korean players to be the face of their game. We have a New York team, Excelsior. They're mostly Korean, and I think there's someone else from Taiwan on that team.
I think most Overwatch teams were foreigners anyways, whether it was Russians or Brazil or like, they really didn't seem like they were recruiting.
They had like anyways. A sprinkle.
Yeah,
See, they had like a sprinkle. It was foreign, yeah. But that's what I mean by that. Like, for example, Call of Duty League, you have some foreigners there, but you have you get people from damn near everywhere on Call of Duty League with Gears, with Halo.
I thought we
This is
considered
looking
League
like
of Legends
Dota.
being carried by foreign, though. I thought that whole league is carried by non-Americans, right?
Yeah,
So
but
shouldn't
look at
Overwatch
the
follow that? See that as an
but
example?
look
Like,
at
okay,
the
well,
genre. But look at the genre of Overwatch compared to the genre of League of Legends. A genre of something like Overwatch, I was surprised, was led by Korean players because they mostly focus on real-time strategy games for competition, or they'll venture, of course, in fighting games. I didn't expect a shooting game to be that one game that they champion. That's why I was saying, like, the genre, I didn't expect that to happen because of the genre. Most shooter games is mostly Western. Westerners kind of fall a lot of times in the shooting games. And of course, you get some foreign people competing, of course. I never expected that Overwatch League was going to be Asian driven.
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
I expected it to be Asian driven just because of the character base. I already know that US it's gonna take a while for US to pick up on cartoony stuff, even if the genre is a first person shooter.
But they fans are mostly Western.
But it was still carried in the beginning by Asians. Like, you like, okay, yeah, I can see a gorilla that's talking, and some night person and this little Reaper killer. Because a lot of the dudes that were playing Call of Duty and Halo that were in the first person shooter world, they were like, Overwatch looked like it's gonna suck just because of the character. Like, they didn't even play the game. They was like, because of the characters, it's gonna suck because it's cartoony.
I think that's what made it a big deal, right? Overwatch was a big deal among the communities because it had the appeal for shooters who Derek's talking about, like Western shooters. It had more percentage of that group of people were interested in what is like a real-time strategy style, kind of like, there's no bullet count, right? That's what real first-person shooter people, they're going to designate, like, if you can't count the bullets.
Dude,
like,
May got a bullet. I'm about to say May.
No, but you're like three shot, three shot he's down, or two shots. Like,
yeah,
like certain characters.
Well, what I mean is like everything in the game, no matter what it is, it's not like you don't have to pick up ammo, right? It's just like everything reloads, right? Everybody's, however they get it, you get it back through time or whatever. That varies different from first person shooters where like everything is counted for, right? So like that's what, but because the game has guns and pressure and offense and defense like a first person shooter, it attracted a lot of Western people, but it does have that RTS like kind of appeal over to it, which was cool because it like blended all the culture, and then they tied the middle with all the movies and the culture. So it was dope,
which was the best. I feel like the little movies and stuff, they did their thing.
It was dope.
It was cool.
Dope. They made it so that you're going to be able to invest in the characters, and therefore the characters were going to become valuable IPs.
Before you move on, let me ask: do you think it's dead? Is there any recovering from it for Overwatch?
I mean, I think
they gotta fix that community.
They have to
people
get,
are pissed.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I don't think it's going in a great direction.
A game.
Jeff Kaplan, the brainchild of Overwatch and games before Overwatch at Activision Blizzard, he's out. He retired. And so what I know from past experiences at game studios is things definitely change, and not always for the better, when the head goes, right? Like, it's not from the original, brainchild. So he leaves, and then I think another, I want to say, major designer left as well. You have from last year, I want to say Nate Nanzer, he left Activision Blizzard as the Overwatch League director and went to Fortnite to direct their esports. Was that last year, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, he left. He went over to Epic.
Yeah.
So they've lost the esports director. Lots of the players have retired. The word is out that people make more money than being an Overwatch player, being an Overwatch streamer. The word is out. Everybody knows that. So you have a player issue. Your company is not short in money. So to answer your question, Derek, there's runway. I mean, it's Activision Blizzard. Luckily for them, this industry is powered by the publisher. You know, GameStop like to say powered by the player. Yeah, no, power from the publisher. Okay, the publisher is so strong, and Activision Blizzard is one of them big dog eating ones. They could just drop a Call of Duty and make enough to fund, you know, the next 2 quarters. So it's like, I think overall Overwatch is in a crazy spot, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they manage to turn it around, because they took a lot of money in, man. Like, that's my thing. They took a lot of money in. You didn't need, anybody could tell you don't need all this money to get the community Red's talking about. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a lot of money. They took in a lot of money. So you would figure it would be like the community on steroids. You know, stereotypically speak, or metaphorically speaking, rather. It would be like it on steroids. Like, the community would be huge because they have just money. Oh my God. But as you can see, in the case of Fortnite, that didn't work. And that's why genres in games matter. You can't jump on a game's jock because it's new and popular. That's why what Marcus is always talking about with finding and Red as well, like finding indie devs and supporting it and finding its values, its core values early, and like understanding who the developers are and what their long-term plans are will always make for better games. And if you go back through game stories, usually that's always the case. Like
the Rocket League. Rocket League is a perfect example of that.
Yep. Stuck with
indie
it.
developer. Like,
Stuck with it. A lot of these games, that was made, Overwatch was not indie. It came out the brains of Activision. And this is what we're looking at. I'm not judging nobody, but this is what you're looking at. So you can have whatever opinion you want. But, I mean, that's $100 million. There's more than 5 teams, and they all had to pay $20 million to get down. It's $100 million. That's $100 million.
That was the crazy part.
That's $100 million.
You're not getting that money back.
Yeah, that was you had to pay to play. That was the crazy
$100 million. All right? And they make money. Crazy. And they make money. So there's no issue of money. And then everybody's getting laid off. The creator left. Hello? It's not a great sput. But they have money. They have a runway. If they're willing to change what Red said, first and foremost, Red, you're right, and that's on the money. We should hit the cha-ching for that, because you got to change the community. Got to change the community. That joint is crazy right now. People don't want to go. And I want to use a quick example. I want to tie fighting games in real quick, right? Like, I tell people, like the FGC, you had people throwing events out of their pocket in the ballrooms of hotels for years, okay? And it scaled and scaled and scaled. But it turned out when you looked and turned to the other genres, it didn't scale the same way they did. Problem 1. So you have to stop and say, hey, no matter what we did, it didn't work as good as what those guys over there have done. And then you look back at what happened, and our community had toxicity. And whether you like it or not, people show up, right? I've been to 1,000 fighting game events. It's great camaraderie. It's great competition. I have my own personal opinions on things, but I'm not even talking about me. I'm talking about Johnny Consumer, right? If I come into this hotel ballroom and people are, smoking everywhere or like vaping, and people are, being like rude, I feel bad when I see the women in there sometimes circled by 8 guys holding arcade sticks. Some of the I feel so bad. I'd be like,
dang, you never seen a woman before?
Just you know what I'm saying? the behavior, just some of the we've heard the things about body odor, things like that are what kept first timers, new people who like, this was my first one. To be this event 2013 is my first one. I'm coming. I'm excited. A lot of people were probably leaving fighting game events like,
they probably traumatized.
Yeah. I was gonna take this to GameStop while they're still around.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was very grassrootsy, very grassroots.
Like, very grassroots, and a lot of that transitioned into Overwatch. I see it because a lot of that racism, that casual ass racism, a lot of the like esports versus not esports, even attitude, right?
The
game
gatekeep
modes,
of
the
you
modes,
being pro or not.
even the modes, right? The modes get people saying crazy shit to each other, like, why are you in diamond when you know your ass is rah. It's like people getting on the game. How you think you're gonna build your community when that conversation exists in your community?
It's not inviting.
No,
it's not an inviting community.
It's not gonna
and,
work. It's not gonna
at
work.
least with fighting, like you could have had. I don't know. It's a different, like, fighting game community is just a different texture of like.
I like the grittiness. I like the grittiness, but
I love the grittiness. It's just like how, like, rap battle community. Like, it's like, that's how I feel about the fighting game community. You had a way to get in and not, like, you can't not be soft. No, I don't care if you're a female. Cannot be coming in here being soft or whatever. Like, they said something, you say something back. Like, you had to have a certain tough skin coming into the fighting game community. So I understood that. And then it started, getting a little bit more structured and getting some money and, had more lighting and, bro, you got to put on some deodorant and, it started to grow.
Right.
But, and he even went to other realms and of hotels and venues. So we got to see it grow. It's no reason why a multi-million-dollar league is ghetto. So it's no, like, that's Overwatch League should not have this type of craziness that's going on. And to Derek, like, if it's going to last, I feel like this is this opportunity for Overwatch 2 to revamp and restart a lot. That's how I feel. Them coming out with the new game, them doing more community things. I feel like they really need to tap into the community of Overwatch. They need to tap into different communities, ethnic communities with Overwatch as well, because it ain't looking too good out here with the stakeholders. So yeah,
it's rough stuff. I really think when I look at it right now, it's a great question, Derek. I would say, they got money, so you get runway. It's like you get runway. They just got time, so it's like someone could come in and help them. They could figure something out. I wouldn't. I don't know. Based on their decisions, I can't bet on it, but I would say, like, I feel like the things that I see our companies doing, and not to toot horns, just the things I see companies like ours and other great companies out there as well doing to shift the entire culture, they may be a benefit factor of that, right? They have money and they can just kind of get involved with that. But overall, their decision making now, especially with Jeff Kaplan leaving, I just feel like Overwatch may be a doomed game. It may be doomed. They may be having another good project.
Tell Overwatch the high point gamer. You know what I'm saying? Just high point gaming. For the consultant. So I'm serious. Like, just tell him, like, listen, Derek is gonna be up there, like, look, this is what y'all need to do. XYZ, boom. This is like, but serious, they need to come and get some consultant from different companies on how to make it work.
I was gonna say, you said it, and it's true. It's true. It really comes down to, a lot of these companies recognizing that your executives who are leaving, let me make that clear. A lot of these companies, your executives are leaving and going somewhere else. They're going to the other industry, being like, I just came from video games. Weird stuff happening over there. That's how they're being.
That's not good.
They're leaving. They're saying this is cool. What do you say there?
I said rich as fuck too.
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. Yo, you won't believe what just happened to me at GameStop. Best trade-in ever. That's crazy ever.
Yeah, that's
how
crazy.
It is. That's how it is. And until it's been a lot of the classism in the industry that gets these kind of conversations to be rough. And I wanna make sure I touch that real quick before we go. A lot of people don't feel like they can be a part of the conversation at the publisher level or at the developer level because of a lot of the classism that happened through the industry through the years. So you got people who think, like, if you've never been to an E3 or if you've never, helped develop a game, or if you've done, all these, Activision Blizzard is a company with hundreds of departments of roles that are not what you think they are. And they all have a piece in decision making, right? You don't know what this executive from BP, who's now at Activision Blizzard, right? Or the NFL, who's now at Activision Blizzard. You don't know what he used to do before his thoughts mattered about video games. Likely he cared about it less than you, okay? It's likely. In fact, he probably would think you're making a great point, but I got this check I got to go get. So, Red a couple weeks ago brought up a great point how job applications are really like flyers and they trying to cut out all the, the people they don't want. Well, that's the same way I feel like the industry has been with some of those the industry has been with some of those roles and positions like developer, executive at a company, any of that. Don't get me wrong. You earn those roles and you should respect them. I'm not being like, yeah, just do whatever you want. I'm just saying it's time for people in consulting positions, in the esports media, just all over the space. Start, staking claim and putting, your name out there more and getting your community built because it's really open right now. Again, we always talk about the esports being the Wild Wild West. It's yours to take, like right now. Set it up because, as you can see, $100 million doesn't just make whatever you build blow up. You can have your opinion. Look what's happening. And that's all I'll say. Anybody else?
Well, so we're going to be chopping it up again this time next week. We don't have a special featured guest for next week, but in 2 weeks, we are excited to bring the CEO of Beeline Studios, who publishes or will be developing and producing Knockout City. Talk about the game, talk about the philosophy of the game developer, what they're bringing to the space that's fresh for gaming and for esports. So we'll be sharing more about that in the next couple of weeks. And if you haven't heard me say this every week since the beta, the game drops May 21st.
Yeah. May 21st?
May 21st, I think. Okay. Let me check my calendar.
Let me make sure.
Why you said it like that?
Because he said it an hour ago like that. Trust me, he'll
like
say it again.
Captain America, Captain Falcon. There we go.
He is going to
Let me check my calendar.
He's going to get the Captain America skin on his Knockout City character. Trust me.
Oh, right, gosh. It better be Captain Falcon. It better be Falcon.
Captain Falcon, right?
Man, okay. Listen. Great to talk with you guys as usual. I'm really excited. The Eat for Life course is in final editing stage, which is dope. I'm looking for 5/10/2021 for it to be the drop date. So I'm so excited. If you guys want a free, of course, all you guys will get it. I want you guys to take it. Tell me what you think of it. I'm so excited for you to see the process in the mind of sales and entrepreneurship. But all you guys out there, if you want it for free and you're watching this now, message me because I just want the first 50 people to get their hands on it and let me know what they think because I spent a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money to bring sales and entrepreneurship in a package that you can understand from somebody who's done it, knows what they're talking about, and giving you the opportunity to learn and learn some skills that are really valuable in today's world, like Facebook ads, YouTube ads, sales skills, closing the deal in DMs, all of the above. It's how you eat for life in today's world. And I'm glad to share this platform with these beautiful people, and I'm excited to bring you guys into the Eat for Life world. So thank you for that. Anything else from anybody else?
Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, because we working, man.
That's it. Give us all the love. Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll be sure to be back with you next week. More gems, more knowledge, more esports, more education, more eating for life. We'll holla.
Peace.
All your tax returns.